It always begins in silence, not the peaceful kind, but the silence that follows a door closing for the last time. You stand there, barely breathing, while the echo of what used to be still hangs in the air. This is the moment when letting go truly starts, before you even admit it to yourself. At first, disbelief wraps around you like fog. You replay the final conversation 100 different ways, each time hoping to spot the sentence that could have changed everything. Your mind bargains, edits, but no amount of mental rewriting can bring yesterday back. The reality that this chapter is over begins to settle, grain by grain, like dust on an untouched shelf. Grief soon follows. It arrives without invitations, sometimes as a quiet heaviness in the chest, sometimes as sudden tears while you wash a plate or hear a familiar song. Friends might tell you to stay strong, but strength isn't about holding back tears. It's about allowing them to fall and still standing when they're done. So you cry when you need to, you breathe through the ache, and even in that sadness, a tiny seed of healing is planted. Then comes anger. You might not even notice it at first. It sneaks in when you remember a careless word, a broken promise, a moment when things could have been different. You argue with a memory, fight battles that live only in your mind. Anger is the body's way of saying, I mattered. My pain matters. Instead of turning it inward, you learn to let it move through you. A long walk, a heavy journal page, a deep breath that leaves you trembling but lighter. After the storm of anger, the bargaining begins. What if you had tried harder? What if you had been more patient, more loving, less stubborn? The mind loves these what-if games because they give the illusion of control. But slowly you see that every path still leads here, to now. Acceptance starts as a whisper. Maybe this was the only ending possible. And then a strange quiet, not the sharp silence of the beginning, but a gentle pause, like dawn before the birds wake. It can feel empty, almost frightening. Yet in this space you begin to hear yourself again. You notice the way light spills across the floor in the morning, how the air smells after rain. Small details that were once lost in the noise return as small gifts. With that quiet comes reflection. You start to ask different questions. What did I learn about love? About boundaries? About who I am when everything familiar is gone? The answers don't rush in. They unfold, slowly, like new leaves in spring. You see patterns, times you stayed silent when you needed to speak. Moments you gave away pieces of yourself just to keep someone near. There's no self-blame here, only recognition. Clarity begins with honest seeing. Little by little, you reclaim your identity. You cook a meal just because it smells good. You pick up a forgotten hobby. You text a friend and laugh without the heaviness that once lived in your chest. The world hasn't changed, but you have. The person who felt broken now feels curious. Life no longer revolves around loss. It expands beyond it. Acceptance deepens. It's not a single moment. It's a daily choice. You wake up and remember the past without flinching. You speak their name. If a person was what you lost, and it doesn't hollow you out, the love or the dream that once held you so tightly now becomes part of your story. A chapter that shaped you but does not define you. Then clarity arrives not as a sudden revelation, but as a steady light. You know what matters? The friendships that feed your spirit. The quiet mornings that ground you. The work that gives your life meaning. Your priorities sharpen. What once consumed you now feels small, almost like a distant landscape you can view without pain. And finally, growth. This is where you realize that letting go was never about losing. It was about making space. Space for new connections, new dreams, a deeper version of yourself. You step into the world, not as the person who survived a loss, but as someone transformed by it, stronger, softer, clearer. So if you are in the first moments of chaos, wondering how you'll ever feel whole again, know this: every stage you walk through, grief, anger, reflection, is not a detour. It is the road itself. And that road leads to clarity. It leads to a self you have yet to meet, but who is already waiting for you. Take your time, breathe, let go, and watch how, piece by piece, the chaos becomes the very clarity you've been searching for.